everyone, I'm Tony with Harper Therapy, and I am here with our wonderful student intern, Jamie. And we are continuing with a new month and a new topic, and we are here to talk about teens.
Yeah, specifically building a trusting relationship with our teens. A lot of the time we see over and over our children kind of turn into aliens. They go from these sweet elementary school into middle school, no man's land, and then we kind of, a lot of parents experience like a shutdown of communication. We're used to walking in the door and having our kids run up to us and hug us and be excited to see us and spend time with us, and then suddenly we're dealing with this shutdown of communication.
This stranger.
And so just we're really digging deep into looking at what are the components of building a trusting relationship with your teen, so that we can maintain an open dialogue through this crazy season of teenageville, for one. And then we have our COVID, and we have world wars, and we just have a lot of craziness, cultural, our not diversity issues, but division. And so they're just dealing with a lot all at once. And so I think it's really important we keep an open dialogue with our teens.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes because we just see them as these innocent babies, we forget that they're not. They are growing into these adults, and we need to be able to have these conversations with them so that they know how to have those conversations with other people.
Yes, and I'm going to be very bold in saying if you're seeing a shutdown in the communication with your teen, I would first look inward and see if there have been any trust violations on your half, meaning a harsh tone, a dismissive countenance, a overreaction to something, a shutting them down. A lot of the time when we find our teens walling up, there's been an offense. And so it's really important to start with ourselves. And I think as parents, asking our children if we have anything we need to apologize for. It's a little precarious, but we might just be really surprised with what they come with. But I think when we're vulnerable and transparent in what our weaknesses are or where we have failed. Like, I'm sorry I took that tone with you. I was really stressed, and or your attitude irritated me, and I don't, whatever that might look like, but keeping that open dialogue and just owning when we mess up. We can't be perfect.
Right. And that's teaching them that you're human.
That's right.
And so what do you feel is the first step in building that relationship? When you're talking about trust, what's the first thing that comes up for you?
Communication, absolutely. And I think watching our teens and seeing if they begin to wall off, that's an indication that there's an injury.
Okay. Oh, I like that. Yes.
And so I would be seeking, have I offended you? Have I injured you? Have I disappointed you? Have I, or reflecting on the last several weeks, I could have done this better. We were running late. I lost it. I'm sorry. Want to do better next time. And we'll find that usually our teens are quite gracious. It's like, oh, you're human and I can be human too.
Right.
So it's like this self-acceptance, but it's also communing acceptance of the imperfections.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think sometimes as parents, I know I do it where I really struggle when I did not make a great parenting decision. Imagine that. And so I can be a very hot-headed Italian, and I could yell at my kids and realize my kids are still young. So then for me to own up to that, that's hard.
Yeah. And I think it gets easier. I'm the mom of 5 sons, and they're older now, 16 to 26, but you get good at saying sorry, and it becomes easier. Like, I'm sorry I took that tone with you. I need, when I say we're out the door in 5 minutes, to start moving, but it does get easier, and they're just really typically very generous with being graceful with their parents.
I think when they could see that your parents are human, because I know when I see somebody else make a mistake, I'm like, oh, you're human. Okay, cool. We're good then. Okay. I think one of the bigger, in just kind of getting more specific about communication, I think communicating your boundaries.
Yes.
is making sure that you get that across to your teen so that they know what's okay and what's not okay, and that, hey, you can be mad, you can't take that tone of voice with me. We were just talking about this.
That's right. Yes, you can communicate that you're not happy, but I want you to watch your tone. You might have boundaries around language. You might have boundaries around rolling eyes or facial expressions. Those are also things that are, and there might be timeouts. Like my boundary might be, I can't talk when I'm already elevated about something. That's a boundary. If I say we need to come back to this, it's understood, we'll return to it.
Yes.
So there's all sorts of different like game rules we can put into place with our teens.
You can totally tell you're a mom of 5 boys because everything comes into like
Sports.
Yes, sports.
Touchdown 49ers. Yes. Whenever
It's totally coming out.
I'm not even a 49ers fan, but that's just what I say all the time when it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, being able to say those things to your teen is going to help build that relationship. My mom will joke that one of her big things is that she knew there were going to be times we didn't like her, and we just couldn't do that in front of her. And as long as we did that behind, like we could call her all the names in the world behind closed doors, if she could hear us, that was not okay. Yeah. And we knew that.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is starting younger. Like starting as young as possible. So by the time they're 17, 18, 19, and you've gone for 3 years with this walled off communication, start when they're in grade school and upper grade school, and and keep that dialogue open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Humble pie is difficult going down, but it's so good for the soul.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So if any of this resonated with you, if you have a teen that you're like, who is this stranger in my house? They're an alien and they don't talk to me. I used to have this sweet little boy or girl, and I don't know where they are. Give us a call at Harper Therapy at 813-434-3639, and you can get a free consult with Jamie. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Have a good one.